Took me 20 years to find you. How many people can say that? You are the best kept secret in the universe. And I found you, which makes me perfect for this job.
This movie should have been called Meandering in Black in about 4 cities and not Men in Black International. And I say that because most of the movie is just like people really just kind of taking it easy and going for a stroll. And a lot of the scenes just go on for 2 or 3 seconds too long for them to have any kind of meaning to them or feel exciting at all. It's all very slow going, and I don't know who decided to make this movie or why or who it's supposed to appeal to, because I like the first Men in Black movie with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. It was a real good fresh take on aliens and their interactions with Earth and Earth beings. I'm a big sci-fi fan, so that really caught me in my wheelhouse right there, Men in Black. And then part 2, I don't remember part 2. I don't know what happened with it. I think Kay was gonna retire or something. And then part 3, all I remember from that is something about time travel, Cape Canaveral, maybe it was Cocoa Beach. And then Josh Brolin did a great impression of Tommy Lee Jones as a younger version of Tommy Lee Jones. So, I mean, the original trilogy was, you know, hit or miss with the second 2, with part 2 and part 3. This one, it's mostly all miss. So anyway, starting off, the movie stars, you know, Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. You might remember them from Thor Ragnarok, Valkyrie and Thor. I think that's how the meeting went when this movie was being pitched. They were like, yeah, remember Thor and Valkyrie? They were great together in that movie, so let's put them in another one. Or anyway, so I'm gonna keep calling her Valkyrie, I can already see it. So Tessa Thompson, she's very smart. She's a very, very smart young girl. And Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he is a brash, you know, arrogant guy. He's very easygoing, and he's very confident in himself. And so the odd couple. She plays the straight man to his comedy guy. Although there's not much comedy in the movie. But I couldn't stop laughing throughout most of it. Well, the parts that I didn't sleep through anyway were just hilariously plain. Yeah, they were hilariously plain. So the movie starts out with giving away basically who the bad guy and what the twist is gonna be at the end of it. And that is to say that Liam Neeson and Chris Hemsworth are partners in 2016, and they're in Paris, that's one of the cities, and they're encountering this species called the Hive. And so they get up to the top of the Eiffel Tower where this, I don't know, this dimensional portal thing is opening up. And so just as they're about to, they go all Ghostbusters at the thing when it opens up. And just as they're about to, I guess, vanquish it, you know, the camera zooms in on both of them, but mainly focuses on Liam Neeson. So it's like, yeah, this is gonna be the bad guy right here. And I thought right at that moment I was watching, I was like, well, okay, so this Hive thing either takes over Liam Neeson's body or they replace him completely with a double, but he's definitely the bad guy, or he's definitely involved with the twist in the end. And lo and behold, oh no, he's definitely the bad guy at the end of the movie. So I was like, maybe a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old wouldn't be able to figure that out, but and this is within the first 10 minutes of the movie this happens. So I was like, this is just bad writing. So it flashbacks 20 years earlier. So it starts in 2016, then it goes backwards 20 years to show you how Tessa Thompson, to show you her motivation, I guess, for wanting to be part of the Men in Black crew. And her whole thing was that she saw her parents get neuralized with the little neuralizer one night. And I guess that triggered her to want to learn more about the world or space or the universe, or I don't know. But she also meets a little Furby alien thing, which definitely looks like a Furby if you see the movie. Looks definitely like a Furby. The marketing department must have been like, yeah, Furby, put him in the movie. So she encounters this alien Furby thing on that same night, but she lets him go. And I was like, oh, okay, so then this thing's gonna grow up and be like some kind of a foil for her, like some kind of a test of her, I don't know, intelligence or bravery or some crap. And no, it doesn't. It becomes a bodyguard that kills a lot of people for Chris Hemsworth's ex-girlfriend RZA. Not RZA from the Wu-Tang RZA, but just some arms dealer named RZA, which kept making me think of Wu-Tang. So I'm thinking of Valkyrie through the whole movie, I'm thinking of Thor through the whole movie, and then I started to think of Wu-Tang. So none of the characters have any kind of development that makes me think of them and not of something else. Not a good sign, right? So anyway, the movie then flashes, and I thought that the little Furby monster, what do they call it, a tarantian? So I guess they couldn't think of, they started, oh yes, it's like a tarantula, but a Sheehan of a tarantula. Okay, fine, whatever. So this tarantian I thought was gonna grow up and be, like I said, you know, a foil for Tessa Thompson, but he wasn't. And so I thought how hilarious would it have been had, when they finally meet towards the end of the movie, right? He's the villain, the tarantian's the villain, but it's like some brutal dictator going from galaxy to galaxy, just conquering and massacring everything in its way. and then Tessa Thompson realizes, oh yeah, I let you go, so all those billions and billions of deaths are my fault? Oh. I thought that would have been just so funny, but it didn't happen that way. So anyway, after she lets the Furby thing go, it flashes back forward to her trying to get into MIB, and somehow she's able to find their hideout in Brooklyn, which is, I mean, they must be really slacking on the job since K and J left. But anyway, she finds them, they let her in. She gets the nickname, the code name M, because her name's Molly. And she goes to London, that's city number 3. And I guess that's what makes it international, right? Because they leave the confines of Brooklyn, USA, and travel across the pond to the UK and international. But it's really just 4 cities. The last city is Marrakesh in Morocco. And so, yeah, she meets Chris Hemsworth and Emma Thompson, I believe that's her name, the boss in New York. Maybe she's the boss of all of them, I don't know. But she sends M to London because of something going wrong in London. Wink, wink, Liam Neeson's the bad guy. So she meets Chris Hemsworth, they go on some mission to find some super weapon that can destroy galaxies, and it's whatever, it's in this little pocket mirror size thing, and it transforms into a gun, obviously, and it's able to wipe out whole swaths of stars or Earth. It's the MacGuffin of the whole movie. So they go on a little mission and they end up in Morocco, and I fell asleep during this part of the movie because, like I said, there's a lot of scenes where people are just walking around and then they'll be talking mumbo jumbo, and I guess there were jokes being thrown around, I really couldn't tell, and then they just kind of hang out and just be silence, or you could hear the music in the background, no one's really doing anything or saying anything. It's just kind of like 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds of just dead space, dead air. And I was like, wow, that is bad. That's just bad editing, I think. It's just bad editing. And so the movie goes on and on like that, and there's a couple more action scenes. They eventually, the weapon gets stolen from them by some random character. Kumail Nanjiani has a character in this, a little pint-sized, I don't know, green talking frog thing called Pani or Polly, something like that. And it's actually the funniest part of the movie was when Kumail Nanjiani speaks. His jokes actually land a lot better than whatever Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson were doing, if they were joking at all. I really couldn't tell. But Kumail Nanjiani is definitely the best part of the whole movie. And so the weapons get stolen from them. Chris Hemsworth has to go back and to his weapons selling ex-girlfriend thing with the Vishnu arms. She's got multiple arms. All right, so that's cool. And so they fight, and that's where we meet again with the little Furby. He's a big grown-up and he's a bodyguard for Vishnu Riza, right? And so the movie's like, when the Furby was first released by Tessa Thompson as a kid, it told her just this random thing. It learned her name in English just by hearing it once. So it said her name once, and then it told her a random phrase that she remembered 20 years later from a child. And she says a thing and they recognize each other. It's like, okay, that's convenient, but all right. And so he immediately switches sides and turns his gun on Riza and is like, yeah, give them the weapon. And it's like, all right, that is cool. That's a wrap, folks. So, oh, and also throughout the movie, there's these celestial pink cloud things. I don't know where they're from. I couldn't pay attention to where they were from, but they're also after the weapon, and they word their threats in a way, because they come off as threatening, and they word themselves in a way as to say that they're the Hive and they're trying to get the weapon, but as it turns out, they were trying to get the weapon to protect themselves from the Hive, because the Hive is the overall bad juju here. And so when those cloud guys are finally killed, it's like, oh yeah, we just murdered people who are trying to get away to defend themselves from our new mutual enemy. Shucks. I don't know who wrote this movie, but it's just like, it's so bad. It's so bad. But I saw who was the director, and it was F. Gary Gray who directed the movie. And it's just like, wow, dude, you must have been off your game on this, because he wrote Set It Off and he did Straight Outta Compton. But then again, he also did The Fate of the Furious. You remember that one? The one with the submarine? Where they were getting chased by a submarine. So, and then I think they only went to 4 countries in that movie too, yeah, because they had their whole thing in Havana where Dom meets Charlize Theron, and then they're in, and of course that Cuban mile race. Who can forget the legendary Cuban mile race, right? So, and then yeah, so Havana, and then they were in New York with the Micro Machines robot zombie car thing, and they were in Berlin for the wrecking ball scene. And then in Russia, yeah, with the submarine, where they were getting chased in cars on ice by a submarine. So that's the director. Hit or miss. You really missed on this one, that's for sure. But it's like I said, it's meandering in black in 4 cities. I don't know who asked for it. I don't know why it was made. I would have much preferred to have seen them try to make that that weird crossover between Men in Black and 22 Jump Street. I think that would have been just leagues funnier, because Will Smith had a very good dynamic with Tommy Lee Jones in the first 2 movies, and that dynamic isn't really there between Valkyrie and Thor. It's just not. I don't know if it's because Tessa Thompson plays it too straight and she's too smart, a little bit too detached. She comes off more like Mr. Spock, but without the humor. And like Thor is he's just too easygoing, and it's like, you are supposed to be like a super secret agent and you're supposed to know all this stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's an okay movie, I guess. I wouldn't watch it again, but I can see for sure that CinemaSins is going to tear it apart, because there's just so much that's just incongruous, and just the continuity of things is just like, why'd you do this and then this is not there now? For instance, when M first joins and she's going to London, she goes down to a tube station, and everyone in the whole building, this whole area, I'll get to that actually, everyone in this whole area is MIB or an alien. So there's no civilians around anywhere, right? So the train shows up in the tube, and it's just a raggedy, rundown train that you would see in like old footage of, you know, like train yards, or in old footage of New York City or something like that. It's like a regular old boxcar train. It's run down and everything. So then when she gets in it, the thing decides to, it transforms for some reason into this like ultra chic, super high tech bullet train that travels under the transatlantic ocean. And I was thinking to myself, well, why the hell did it show up as a regular train? Because I looked at the scene, I was like, there's no one here that's not dressed like a Men in Black agent or as an alien. So who was the regular train, appearance for? Was it just for the audience so that you can show it transforming into this thing? Because once it gets to London, it doesn't transform back into a regular looking train. So I'm like, why the hell did it show up in Brooklyn as a regular train? Do they lease this thing out to the public to make some extra money on the side? Like, I don't understand why is it? So, and then the other thing was, there's a lot of locations in this movie in these various cities, international, that are underground or otherwise somehow blocked off from the general public. But these places use so much light and there's so much activity, and it's like, how the hell does the city or the county responsible for these places not notice that like the energy grid just just losing all this power from everything that's going on in here? It's impossible. There's no way, unless the Men in Black are so secretive to have their own independent energy grid that just powers all of this crap, which I guess that's possible. So I'll give them that, I'll give them that. But it's just, stuff like that is just like, wait a minute. Because the immediate connection that I made was with the Harry Potter movies, how the wizards were able to go into their own, literally their own world that Muggles could not see, right? So they had their own newspaper, they had their own everything, right? But that's magic. So you wouldn't expect regular people to just kind of stumble upon them like Tess did with the building in Brooklyn. It just wouldn't happen. So I just couldn't figure it out here. I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, this is raising too many questions, So it's a decent movie. I didn't hate it, but I did fall asleep through it. So it's not gonna hold your attention, I don't think. If you have ADD, definitely do not watch this. Do not try to cure your ADD with this movie. It's not gonna help. If you have a child, maybe the kid will enjoy it. I don't know, I have no idea. I don't think a child would enjoy this. Like the theater that I sat in, no one chuckled until Kumail Nanjiani, had a couple lines here and there. But it's not worth the money, I would say. It's not worth the money. It's worth maybe catching on TV, at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And I don't think it's gonna make its money back from what I read over the weekend. Had a pretty good opening, but then things really tumbled down the tube, I guess. Yeah. So that's it. Meandering in Black in 4 cities. Yeah. All right. Later.
There should be a big red button around here somewhere.
Found it.
We are the Men in Black.